I'm Linda Fox in the PhocusWire studio, and I'm with Bryan Batista. He's CEO of Skyscanner. Welcome, Bryan. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here, Linda.
So, 9 months into the role,
Yes.
What have been the surprises?
A few things. One is this is a business at Skyscanner which is just so traveler focused, and it's almost a cliche you hear in a lot of businesses saying they're truly customer first, customer driven.
Yeah.
This is one business that truly lives that.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing I'd say is just the amount of still, let's say, geo expansion to go. I've always seen Skyscanner as a very global business.
Mm-hmm.
However, in actually a very uplifting way from the opportunity available, there's still a lot to do. We are still underpenetrated in several markets, and I see great growth prospects for it. So that's been a surprise. And then the third thing, maybe on the harder side, is the challenge of AI.
Sure.
I tell a lot of my colleagues, I see this as a privilege to be able to lead an organization in this time of perhaps the most disruptive technological change we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting, but it's hard. So just the nuances of navigating that have been a good and at times difficult surprise.
Okay, I'm just going to one quick follow up on that, just because you said many businesses say they're traveler centric, but you truly believe you are. So why do you truly believe you are?
So it's something we integrate in our decisions every day, Linda. From the simplest conversation, we will stop and ask ourselves, wait, is this traveler first? And the way that most meaningfully manifests itself is via decision making, especially when it comes to revenue. And a lot of times, we will have, let's say, revenue-enhancing opportunities on our plate, but we will say no to them because for some reason we feel they're not traveler first. We have other metrics that show us that travelers actually would prefer not to see that or to have that feature work in that way, and we will turn away a lot of revenue-enhancing opportunities to be traveler first. Okay,
interesting. What's your broad view on AI in travel, and then we'll dip into what your view on AI for Skyscanner is?
Sure. AI for travel, I think, is an evolution. It's if you see the way it started was with analytics, companies investing more and more in analytics, and then that becoming machine learning. So we start integrating machine learning into our pricing, into our ranking algorithms. Now the next wave we've seen of that is generative AI.
Yep. And
we see a lot of Gen AI features. And there's another wave yet to come or here already, which is agentic AI. And throughout this, we've seen changes, some slow, some fast.
Yep.
I think these last two stages of Gen AI and agentic AI are moving a lot faster. I'd say in the first few, we've seen some slower movements in travel. I would like to have seen personalization unlocked a lot earlier in travel. I think, though, if you look at it, we'd probably get a failing grade in travel for the amount of personalization you see. But I do think these latter stages of this AI evolution will bring a lot more personalization, a lot more memory. So I'm looking forward to that. And also, one other thing I'd mention is travel is complex. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And it's sometimes harder to see out the benefits of these technologies due to, for example, the lack of connectivity between our different, let's say, travel verticals, travel systems. If you look at it today, airline systems talking to hotel systems, talking to rental car systems, etc., it doesn't exist. And we thought we would have solved this a long time ago. How long have a lot of the big travel players been talking about the connected trip? It's not there yet.
No.
So like any tech or disruption in travel, these things take longer than we'd hope, than we'd expect, because it is a complex sector. Okay,
so apply that AI to what's going on at Skyscanner, and what are you thinking about the potential there?
Sure, a lot going on. It's for example, right now we're close to launch our mini app for ChatGPT, just as we've seen Booking and Expedia do.
Yep.
In addition, we're already powering other players with our API and the very deep data and supply we have in the travel space. For example, Layla is powered by Skyscanner APIs. In addition to that, we're integrating AI first features throughout our funnel, whether that's helping in traveler discovery to understand, hey, what's a cool destination I go to? What type of hotel should I look for given this type of vibe that I'm looking for in this city, towards helping with let's say, price insights. When should I book? Is this a good price? Is this a competitive price? Aggregating hotel reviews. So it's all over our funnel. And it's going as far as then also looking at things that we haven't done or are not doing yet. Give you an example is, can we help travelers book their flight, for example, via some type of agentic experience? So instead of handing over naturally, as we usually do, into an airline or OTA funnel, could we ask the traveler, hey, would you like us to complete this booking for you?
Okay.
Of course, on the partner side, still, we're not taking the transaction,
No,
not interested in that. But now the technology allows us to do that.
Right.
So we're experimenting also in that area. The one thing I'd call out is, although we talk so much about AI, and this is a huge disruption, and a positive one that we're seeing, a lot of travelers still aren't, let's say, using these tools. So we've seen, according to our surveys, about 50% year-over-year growth in AI usage, but we know that it's a transition.
Yeah.
And we need to do a good job of explaining to travelers why these are good features, why we're using AI, and why it's going to benefit them in the end.
Yeah, I think, our PhocusWire studies is showing much faster Gen Z, Gen Y, for obvious reasons. Older generations, not so fast. So it's still there, still, ticking along and experimenting, but yeah. Some people, we take a look at LinkedIn often because it's nice to see what people are saying about all of these movements and where they think the threats lie and where they think the opportunities lie. And there are people that are saying that Meta is particularly exposed. Do you feel that?
I don't. Being honest with you, several months back when we saw the pace of change picking up, of course, asked myself, our organization, we asked ourselves that question. And since then, we spent a lot of time, particularly talking to the big LLMs, some of the AI innovation labs, understanding what are they looking to get done. And what we learned, what we realized is they're just looking to provide the best answer possible.
Sure.
And we think we can play a big role in that ecosystem because these LLMs are not looking to contract, as far as I know, with airlines. They're not looking to replicate what we've done. If they were to start hitting airlines with millions, if not billions, of pricing requests,
which is a concern. Yeah,
they would knock over their API. So we think that Metas and Skyscanner can play a vital role in being, let's say, a really intelligent aggregator of those prices, being able to return the right answer, because the traveler isn't always looking for the lowest price. For example, they may be looking for the most flexible journey, for the most reliable partner, for the best customer service. And we can return answers based on whatever context the traveler provides, because that's what we do. That's what we've been doing for 20 years, and we think we're best at this in the industry. So we think we still play a strong role. However, we'll need to stay close to the space to understand how we deliver, whether it's an app in a platform, whether it's an API, whether it's some solution we haven't thought of yet, so that we can stay, let's say, top of mind to these players and be relevant to whatever solution they're providing. But I'm not worried that Meta is risked in this transition.
Okay, now you talked earlier on in the conversation about, the potential for new markets. Obviously, India last year. Just a brief update on that, and then maybe some of the other areas where you see the potential.
Sure. So India just celebrated our first 1-year anniversary of having that let's say having an office, a team live in that market. It's going really well, and we see a lot of potential for the market. So from now until 2040, we see on average at least 10% annual growth in both leisure domestic travel and also international travel.
Okay.
A lot of aircraft capacity coming on board too. We want to, let's say, lean into that growth of the Indian traveler space via also some marketing. So besides having the depth of supply that we've always invested in, we've been investing a lot, for example, in the cricket space there. So recently signed a really cool partnership with one of the top Indian T20 cricket players. His name's conveniently Sky, so matches well with us. So that's an area we've been going deep in. Also have had deep, let's say, investments in social media in India now for several years.
Okay.
And we're starting to see those pay off. So very excited about the Indian market. Beyond that, expect to also make additional investments in South Korea, in Japan, in Brazil, and also looking to do more in the North American market, which traditionally hasn't been our focus space, but we'd like to change that.
Do you replicate the model in other countries, or do you have the potential to do different things in different markets?
Different things, Linda. So, for example, our investments in social have gone really well in India, and our initial investments in cricket, or let's say sports marketing, also really worked well for us. We've, in the last 3 years, been investing in above-the-line, let's say, brand marketing in Canada. That's worked well for us there. So less social emphasis, more on the TV side, above the line marketing. So it really is going to be a bespoke approach based on what we see best. We'll test into it as we do with everything we do, and apply the approach that works best.
Yeah, the local kind of knowledge, I guess. New products. Last year it was car and hotels. What's next?
What's next? So one thing we've been growing is our presence, let's say, in rail. We've been using it mostly to, I'd say, augment our flights offering by, instead of just giving you a flight from IATA to IATA, actually adding a rail journey in there, maybe a bus journey. Eventually, that will also allow us to open up more A to B points over time. But I think the most exciting thing is really our introduction of packages.
Okay.
So this is, let's say, a rather traditional space that we're looking to disrupt a bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is via the pricing insights that we have access to, because we see everything obviously on the standalone flight side, on the standalone hotel side. That then allows us to truly tell you, when you have a package, how much value are you getting? Mm-hmm. We can indicate to you, actually, you know what, don't book those separately. Book this package. Or, hey, you're looking at that flight for an extra X euros, X dollars, you can add a hotel. So we've started in the UK and Ireland this year. We've seen very impressive, let's say, conversion gains, very surprising ability to take users from our flights funnel into our packages funnel. And we'll be rolling out subsequent markets very soon, including Germany and the Netherlands. One interesting stat I'd love to share is 1 in 5 of our travelers actually shows the intention to book a hotel plus flight package.
Okay.
So there's strong, let's say, interest, willingness to purchase there. We just want to put a really relevant product in front of them.
So then how easy is it, so you can put it in front of them in the front end, they've shown intent, but how easy is it for you to then hand off the various different elements to the respective merchants?
Sure. So should clarify too, we're not creating our own packages.
Right.
We are connecting with package providers.
Okay, so it's ready-made packages. It's not, you're not pulling one from an airline and one from a hotel.
No,
okay,
no,
we're sense.
Not. We're not. Okay, exactly.
Good. What else should we talk about? Okay, greatest challenge in the role so far?
I think it's balancing what we see as working with travelers today versus what we're pretty sure is going to be required in the future. So just to give you an example of that, we've traditionally had a really strong desktop and MWeb presence, but we know that more and more we need to invest more in our app surfaces, and it's something we probably did too slowly. So it's around, making some of those decisions that go counter to the way the business works today, mm-hmm. but ensuring we're investing much more in the future, much more ahead of the signals that our travelers are sending us. The same goes for AI. Mm. When we're very much customer research driven, we'll ask our travelers certain things, and they'll say, "Hey, we're not actually into that feature. We're not ready for it." Yet it's sometimes making that decision to go against the research and say, you know what, we need to lead the traveler here and show them that this will be a feature that they will like. They just haven't seen it at work.
It must be hard to think about investing in your app when, we might not be using apps in the not too distant future, right? Somebody said something, it was Accor on stage earlier. He said, you sometimes have to take the leap, and you have to, with the knowledge you have, and it might not be the right sort of leap, and it must be hard to be making some of these decisions right now, given the rapid pace of evolution.
It's exactly that. But I guess that's one of our biggest jobs as managers, is to make the best judgment call you can with the limited, sometimes limited data information you have at hand, and indeed take a few of those leaps.
Okay, biggest challenge for the industry right now?
For the industry, I'd say it's still related to the interconnectivity of the trip. no business out there, despite all the talk of connecting trips, has done a really good job at making your, let's say, your travel journey speak to itself. And what I mean by that is there's a cancellation in one part of your journey
intuitively
that is never flowed through, and it still leads to a very poor customer experience. And I think just making that, removing that huge amount of customer friction that still exists, I think still remains the biggest challenge to the industry.
Curious to know what your kind of learnings, experience were from the previous roles at, obviously Booking, but particularly Tesla. What do you bring from Tesla to Skyscanner?
One of the great things at Tesla, at least the time I was there early days, so this was 2010, was that we were doing things that hadn't been done before. And a lot of what we had to bring was just bring a product to the market in an aggressive way, knowing it wasn't perfect. But taking advantage of that head start we had, the speed that we had in bringing electric vehicles to the market. And so there was a really strong 80-20 approach.
Okay.
Which I think was magical at the time, because it allowed Tesla to punch well above its weight as a company. From Booking.com, the biggest thing, and I talk a lot about this still at Skyscanner, is the experimentation culture.
Yes.
So a very rapid experimentation culture. Test and learn.
Yeah.
And using that in everything you do.
Yeah. Okay, good. Couple of questions to round up on. What's an unpopular or uncomfortable truth in the travel industry that really we should be addressing?
Ooh. Popular uncomfortable truth. I think it's still overall fairly low quality customer service.
Okay.
And when I think of it, I was mentioning it before, just the amount of friction we still find, whether that's at the rental car desk, where you're having to write your details down on a blank piece of paper, or whether it's sometimes in waiting for a refund from an airline. These things should just work better.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because on the insurance side, they're beginning to do like almost automatic refund. You claim it's there, and we'll ask the questions later, but there's your money. You need your money. And yet, as you say, there's still this huge amount of friction across the industry.
And it shows it can be done. Yeah. When companies want to do it, they can do it. But it's there's too much friction, I'd say, in the customer experience.
Okay. If you could blow something up in travel, what would it be?
Blow something up.
And it could be mindset, it could be a process, it could be a bit of tech.
Good question. What would I blow up? This is the first thing that's coming to mind. Let's just go with that. Is the airport experience.
Okay.
I think the airport experience over the last 10, 20 years has only gotten worse.
Yeah.
And there's very few airports who are actually making travel a joy.
Changi.
Changi is always the one that comes to mind, right? And it makes people really start to look for other options. At times, I think it makes people avoid travel because they just say, you know what, I'll just get in the car. I'll find another way there. At the same time, it's opening up new opportunities for not new forms, but alternative forms of travel like rail, because people just don't want to go through that terrible hassle of the airport experience. So it's funny because it's still a core part of travel, but it's one thing that a lot of us in the industry just turn a blind eye to, and there must be a better way to do it.
I've got high hopes for biometric corridors and digital ID and digital wallets and all those things that are coming. You can almost touch them, but that they've got to go a long way in improving the airport experience.
I agree, and I think it's just, especially with the prospects that seem to exist, that travel will continue to grow. Especially in an AI-enabled world, that people will have more free time to travel. That's just, we've got to fix the airport experience and make it a joy to circulate through airports again.
Yeah. Bryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lynn. It's been a pleasure.